The desert sky stretched wide and quiet, but that calm was broken the moment the Israeli F-35I Adir cut across the horizon like a phantom moving at will through the air. What makes this jet so feared is not only its cutting-edge stealth design, but also the psychological impact it carries. Enemies who know it may be above them but cannot see it feel a pressure that no radar screen can measure. And if you are watching this right now, make sure to subscribe to Use a Defense Daily, because we bring you stories of how technology and strategy are rewriting the rules of warfare, and missing these insights means missing the future that is already unfolding above our heads. The Adir represents the ultimate blend of American engineering and Israeli innovation. When Israel became the first country outside the United States to receive the F-35, it did not settle for just using the jet as it was delivered. Israeli engineers immediately began modifying it, customizing its software systems, its electronic warfare capabilities, and its weapons integration so it would be perfectly tuned for the threats of the Middle East. That decision created a unique aircraft, one that shares the DNA of the American 35, but carries features no other Air Force has. In many ways, the Adir is not simply a jet, it is a flying laboratory where every mission feeds back lessons that make the next sortie even sharper. At the heart of its legend is stealth. The Adir can slip past radar coverage with a radar cross-section smaller than a bird. This ability is not only about physical design, it is about the way its sensors and systems coordinate to make the aircraft nearly invisible in electromagnetic space. Israeli pilots have described the strange feeling of watching enemy radars spin in search while the Adir slides past undetected like a ghost. This stealth advantage means the plane can strike targets deep within hostile territory before the opposition even knows it has been breached. In a region where seconds can mean the difference between survival and destruction, that capability is nothing short of game-changing. Beyond invisibility, the Adir is an information machine. Its advanced sensor fusion collects radar, infrared, and electronic signals and processes them in real time, giving the pilot a complete picture of the battlefield. But Israel went further. By integrating its own command and control networks into the F-35I, Israel created a seamless system where every Adir in the sky communicates instantly with ground forces, drones, and even naval units. This creates not just an aircraft but a node in a vast digital web of war. The Adir is no longer flying alone, it is orchestrating an entire symphony of military power from the cockpit. The weapons it carries underline its deadliness. Tucked inside its bays are precision-guided munitions that can be deployed without breaking stealth. Israel has worked tirelessly to adapt its own indigenous weapons into the aircraft, integrating systems like the Spice Bomb and Rampage missile. This gives the Adir not only stealth and awareness, but also teeth sharpened by decades of Israeli combat experience. Each strike is calibrated with the kind of accuracy that limits collateral damage while maximizing psychological effect on adversaries. An enemy installation can be destroyed with surgical precision, and before the defenders even know what hit them, the jet is already gone, vanishing back into the horizon. Pilots who train in the Adir describe the transition as moving from an aircraft to an extension of their own senses. The cockpit's helmet-mounted display projects a 360-degree view, allowing the pilot to literally see through the plane's skin. Every threat, every target, every alley appears as if painted on a vast digital canvas in the sky. This immersion allows pilots to make split-second decisions with confidence, knowing they are backed by more information than any adversary could hope to match. Israeli doctrine has always emphasized pilot skill and adaptability, and the Adir elevates that philosophy by giving its operators godlike awareness. Yet what truly sets the Adir apart is how Israel has adapted it to its unique environment. Unlike other nations that purchased the F-35 off the shelf, Israel insisted on customizing its jet with its own electronic warfare suite. This means that while most F-35s rely on American updates and systems, the Adir can jam, disrupt, and mislead enemy defenses using homegrown technology that even Washington does not fully own. In a region filled with Russian-made radars, Iranian drone swarms, and Syrian missile batteries, the ability to dominate the electronic spectrum is a decisive edge. It ensures that the Adir is not just invisible, but also actively confusing the enemy while delivering its strikes. The history of its deployment already speaks volumes. Reports have surfaced of the Adir flying missions deep into neighboring territories, neutralizing targets before they became threats. While official confirmation is rare, the hints are enough to create deterrence. Adversaries know that the Adir could already be above them, unseen, ready to act at any moment. This uncertainty itself is a weapon making decision-makers hesitate before launching rockets or moving troops. In modern conflict, hesitation can mean the collapse of an entire operation, and the Adir delivers that hesitation with every flight. Its maintenance and operational design also tell a story of how Israel prepares for long conflicts. The Adir's systems are designed for rapid turnaround, meaning it can be refueled, rearmed, and relaunched faster than older generations of aircraft. Combined with Israel's focus on efficiency, this ensures that the fleet can remain in the air in high numbers for extended campaigns. In a hypothetical conflict where minutes and hours matter, the ability to keep jets cycling through missions without pause is just as critical as stealth or weapons. This focus on sustainability makes the Adir not only a spear but a shield that can remain raised without faltering. Critics sometimes argue that the Adir, like all stealth jets, faces limitations in cost and complexity. But for Israel, the investment is justified by the unique challenges of its neighborhood. Surrounded by adversaries on multiple fronts, Israel cannot afford parity. It requires superiority. The Adir is a cornerstone of that superiority, ensuring that no opponent can plan without factoring in the possibility of an unseen strike. Even nations far beyond the region watch closely, because the lessons from Israel's use of the F-35I will shape how future wars are fought across the globe. The symbolism of the Adir also cannot be overlooked. In Hebrew, its name means mighty or powerful, and that symbolism carries into every deployment. It represents not only the technological leap of Israeli defense, but also the psychological statement that Israel will remain at the cutting edge no matter how quickly threats evolve. In a world where perception often shapes reality, the Adir projects an aura of invincibility that strengthens alliances, deters adversaries, and reassures citizens that the skies above them remain guarded by something beyond ordinary. From the ground up, the Adir reshapes how Israel views air power. No longer is an aircraft simply a platform for bombs or missiles. It is a living, networked entity capable of bending the battlespace to its will. This is why military analysts across the world pay attention to every rumored mission, every reported upgrade, and every exercise involving the Adir. Each detail offers a glimpse into the future of aerial warfare, where invisibility, awareness, and precision converge into a single deadly package. By the time the first chapter of its story ends, one truth stands clear: the F-35I Adir is not just an aircraft, it is a concept of war made real. It embodies the fusion of technology and doctrine, the blending of American design and Israeli adaptation, and the transition from raw power to intelligent dominance. It is a jet that can enter enemy skies without being seen, destroy what must be destroyed, and leave before anyone has time to respond. For Israel, that is not just an advantage, it is survival, and for its enemies, it is a reminder that the battlefield has already changed. The shadow of the Adir is not confined to the skies above Israel. Its presence ripples across the entire Middle East, shaping alliances, strategies, and the psychology of nations that watch every move with a mix of awe and fear. When an aircraft carries such dominance, it does more than defend. It influences diplomacy, it reshapes doctrines, it sets the pace of technological competition. And this is where the story of the Israeli F-35I becomes even more compelling, because it is not just a weapon, it is a message to the world. Regional adversaries feel that message first. Iran constantly monitors Israeli air activity, knowing that the Adir's stealth allows it to penetrate defended airspace with little warning. This has forced Iranian planners to rethink how they deploy missile batteries, how they move critical assets, and how they prepare for scenarios where the first sign of attack is the explosion itself. The presence of the Adir means that Iran's deterrence is weakened, not because its missiles cannot reach Israel, but because it cannot guarantee that those missiles will survive long enough to launch. This uncertainty alters calculations, and in the chess game of strategy, one uncertain move can tip the board entirely. Neighboring states like Syria and Lebanon face similar dilemmas. Air defense systems supplied by Russia were once considered powerful shields, but the Adir has demonstrated the ability to bypass them. Radar operators may watch their screens with vigilance, yet the jet remains invisible until it has already achieved its mission. For governments relying on these systems, the realization is sobering. If billions of dollars in imported defenses cannot guarantee protection, then their strategic depth is far thinner than they believed. This forces leaders to seek alternatives, and often those alternatives involve diplomacy concessions or realignment. With stronger powers in hopes of regaining balance, Israel's allies, meanwhile, see the Adir as a symbol of technological leadership. Washington invested in the F-35 program as a cornerstone of modern air power, but Israel's modifications demonstrate how adaptable the platform can be. By integrating homegrown weapons and electronic warfare tools, Israel has turned the Adir into a unique variant that even American forces study for insights. Joint exercises often highlight these innovations, with American pilots training alongside Israeli counterparts to learn techniques developed in real combat scenarios. This exchange reinforces Israel's role not only as a partner, but as a laboratory for Western defense technology tested under the harshest realities of conflict. The presence of the Adir also creates ripple effects in regional diplomacy. Arab states that once saw Israel as an adversary now quietly acknowledge that aligning with such a technologically advanced military could serve their own interests. The Abraham Accords were driven by many factors, but the underlying awareness that Israel commands unmatched capabilities, including the Adir, certainly played a role. Nations calculate alliances based not only on shared values but on survivability, and partnering with the side that owns the skies is often the safest choice for ordinary citizens. The impact of the Adir is psychological. In Israel, families who once feared rocket sirens draw comfort knowing that invisible guardians circle above them. Even when doubts arise about missile defense systems, the image of the Adir reinforces belief in security. In adversary territories, the same invisibility creates fear, a sense that no place is safe, no convoy secure, no bunker hidden enough. This is the dual power of stealth. It comforts one side while unnerving the other, and in warfare psychology can be as decisive as weapons. Economically, the Adir represents a massive investment, but also a multiplier. Every mission it flies deters attacks that might have cost billions in damage. Every alliance it strengthens brings economic cooperation, and every technological breakthrough integrated into its systems spins off civilian applications in cybersecurity, aviation, and artificial intelligence. Israel's decision to prioritize the Adir is not only about military survival, it is also about projecting innovation that draws in foreign investment and secures its place as a regional technology hub. Yet there are challenges and critics. The maintenance of such advanced aircraft requires enormous resources, skilled technicians, and constant upgrades. Opponents argue that reliance on the Adir could create vulnerabilities if adversaries ever discover weaknesses in its stealth or electronic warfare systems. Defense planners understand this, which is why Israel continuously evolves its approach, never allowing the jet to remain static. Software is updated, hardware is improved, tactics are revised, and the Adir that flies today is not the same as the one delivered years ago. This adaptability ensures that critics may raise doubts, but adversaries can never relax. The future role of the Adir becomes even more intriguing when viewed against emerging threats. Drone swarms, low-cost missiles, and hypersonic weapons are redefining the battlefield. The Adir's ability to integrate with other systems means it can serve as a command hub, directing defenses and coordinating counterattacks against these new challenges. Rather than being made obsolete by technology, the Adir evolves to control it, using artificial intelligence and networked warfare to remain at the center of the storm. This makes it not just a platform for today, but a foundation for tomorrow. International observers compare the Adir to the revolutionary aircraft of past eras. In World War II, the Spitfire and Mustang shifted the air balance. In the Cold War, the SAR-71 Blackbird redefined surveillance. Today, the Adir represents that leap, a machine that is more than a machine, a concept that rewrites the rules. Every demonstration of its power becomes a signal to allies and adversaries alike that Israel has secured not only a military advantage, but a seat at the table of nations shaping the future of defense. Cultural impact cannot be ignored either. Documentaries, news reports, even social media posts portray the Adir as both a marvel and a mystery. Young pilots dream of flying it, defense enthusiasts track every rumor of its missions, and adversaries spread propaganda claiming to resist it even when their own defenses falter. The narrative of the Adir seeps into public consciousness, becoming part of how societies understand power in the modern age. It is not just hardware, it is mythology, a story told in headlines and whispered in strategy rooms that Israel commands a weapon too advanced to counter easily. All of this converges into one reality: the Adir is more than an aircraft, it is a tool of national identity and international perception. Its roar across the sky carries the echo of alliances, promises, and deterrence. It shapes the confidence of a small nation surrounded by threats and reminds the world that in modern conflict survival belongs to those who innovate faster, adapt sharper, and project strength, not only in firepower but in presence. As time moves forward, the Adir will continue to evolve its systems, upgraded, its tactics refined, and its legend expanded. Adversaries will search for ways to counter it, deploying new radars, new missiles, new strategies. But each attempt forces them to spend resources while Israel continues to sharpen its edge. This imbalance itself becomes a strategy, draining opponents while maintaining superiority. It is not only about who flies higher, it is about who forces the other to exhaust themselves trying to catch up. In the end, the Adir's legacy may not only be measured in battles fought, but in battles prevented. Its deterrence may stop wars before they begin. Its reputation may reduce the appetite of adversaries to test Israel's resolve. And as future generations of aircraft emerge, the lessons learned from the F-35I will guide their design, ensuring that Israel's skies remain guarded not just by steel and stealth, but by the enduring philosophy that innovation is survival. So as you listen to this, remember that the third is a story of technology. It is a story of resilience, of adaptation, of a nation that turned vulnerability into advantage and uncertainty into dominance. And if you want to continue exploring these powerful shifts in global defense, stay tuned to USA Defense Daily, where every detail of these evolving stories is broken down so you remain not just informed but prepared for the world that is rapidly unfolding before our eyes.